Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we go on, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification so that you're notified every time that I post a new video. Well, today we'll be going over the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. And before we start, I just need to clarify, like in every other video, that nobody's paying me in any shape, way, or form for this video. This is my own words, my own opinions, and my own experiences. So to kind of go over a little bit of the specs of the drone itself weighs about 907 grams or approximately 2 pounds, has a max wind resistance of 18 to 24 miles per hour, uses the DJI Go 4 and it video streams and using the OpticSync 2.0, and the remote control video format can come out at 720 30 frames per second or 1080 30 frames per second, you guys. Some of the cool stuff with it is has a huge amount of photo specs. Talking about the single shot that it has a burst shoot of 3 to 5 frames, has a 1-inch CMOS, which is a great sensor that's created by Hasselblad, and it's using 20 million effective pixels. The photo has a huge range. The ISO range can go from 100 to 3200 ISO on auto mode, but in manual mode it can extend a little bit more, 100 to 12,800 ISO, and remember that's on manual mode. It has a great shutter of either 8 seconds all the way down to 1/8,000th of a second. The still frame format is 5472 by 3648, and it has two formats, the regular JPEG or the PNG raw file. You guys, huge files, great output. Now, the DJI also has some great video specs. The video ISO has a smaller range than the photos, so it goes from 100 to 6400 ISO. It shoots in a couple different sizes as far as 4K, 1080, and 720. So the 4K itself, remember, is 3840 by 2160, and it can shoot in 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. It also shoots in 2.7K, which is a little bit smaller, in a format of 2688 by 1512, and that shoots at 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, and 60 frames per second. Now you also have what's called FHD, which is a 1920 by 1080, and it shoots at 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, 60, and 120 frames per second, you guys. That's a huge range for being such a small sensor. Now the video formats also come in MP4, MOV, MPG4 AVC, H.2.64, and HEVC H.265, you guys. So you have such a wide variety of range of usage, anywhere from the starter level all the way to the pro level using those higher formats. But before we go on, my hair is a little crazy and it's too much. I think we need a haircut. All right, that's better. We're back in business, you guys. So the very first thing I want to talk about with the drone is some of the frustrations that I have with it. The very first frustration is the controller itself, and I want to say it's a frustration because of the fact that this controller was actually made a couple years back. The drone is almost 2 years old, 2.5 years old, and the truth is that they basically made it compatible to the phones that were coming out then, which at the time was probably the iPhone 7, the iPhone 8, and those had black bars at the top, so there was some space and length between where the controller starts and the screen starts. Well, such as my phone, the Galaxy Note 10, that's not the case. The case is that the screen continues off to the very edge, and this causes a lot of issues within the app because it will actually block some of the buttons. Some of the buttons that includes is the APAS, the landing, and the controller mode, which really sucks, and it becomes a real frustration, especially when I'm out and about. Now, I did go out of my way and I did purchase this mount that goes onto the controller. I get to place my phone on top, and then I had to buy an extended wire because there's a little bit more length where the output is, and then the input of the phone. So not necessarily a big deal if you're willing to go out of your way to buy a mount that works for you. There's different kinds of mounts. This is not the only one. There's a ton out there, but that is a frustration, especially for the cost of the drone. Now, DJI has addressed this now, and big props to them. And the newer drones are having the actual mount on top of the controller without them having the collapsible handles at the bottom, which is great, but it doesn't do anything if you're trying to purchase the Mavic 2 Pro. Now, if you have an older phone, not a big deal. Like I said, if you're willing to go out and buy them out, have to buy that extra cable and all that kind of good stuff, not a big deal. Cheap problem solver, but keep that in mind. The second real big frustration, you guys, is the cover that goes over the actual gimbal and the lens and the camera continues to scratch every time that I try to put it in, put it out. Scratches the top of the lens covering, and it covers the bottom front of the drone. Now, once again, not necessarily a huge frustration, but if I'm going to spend $2,000, or if you just buy just a single unit without the fly more package, I would expect that to be taken care of a little bit more just for that cost. Now, it doesn't necessarily devalue or hurt the gimbal, the drone, or anything that it does, but it really does become a frustration. Now, let me talk about the biggest pros. The biggest pros and the biggest excitement for me with the drone is a flight time of between 18 minutes and a max of 31. Now, there is a lot of dependencies. One of them is depending on how much wind is out. So it has a wind resistance of 18 to 21 miles per hour. So that also causes the battery to drain a little bit faster. Now, on the side of the controller, you do have 3 different settings: T, P, S. T stands for tripod, P stands for position, and S stands for sport. Now, tripod is actually meant a lot for the inside, so you can basically use it as a tripod. It's basically the slowest mode you can, so it'll be very slow. I think it tops at like a mile, 2 hours an hour. Now, position, a little bit more, a little faster. All the sensors are on, and it works really well. And that tops out about 22 miles per hour, 23 maybe. And then sports mode, it'll shut off all the sensors, and you can top out at about 42, 43 miles per hour on the drone. Now, you guys, once again, that entire depending on how you use it, and all these other factors will cause the battery to either be cut short or last longer. So keep that in mind. Hovering, if you just hover it at a maximum speed of 25 miles per hour, you can definitely get the 31 minutes max. Now, I've talked about this previously in my videos. A lot of things that I try to buy them compatible enough to be able to take them down to the Baja races. One of the biggest things is that I carry a vest that has all my equipment, from batteries to the drone, to being able to carry my second camera, wires, a little bit of everything, you guys. And one of the greatest things is that I can collapse it and put it into a pouch and carry with me, no problem. I don't need to have it in its case or anything like that. Put it in there and on away it goes. The controller itself is very collapsible too. It's probably as small as my phone, which makes it easy to put in a pocket and on our way we go. Really excited about that, you guys. The other big thing is that the drone itself has automated systems in it, and I really do appreciate the automated systems because, like I said, whether you're a beginner or you're intermediate or a pro, you're able to learn the drone and really fall in love with it. If you need to start the automated systems and that's how you run it from the very beginning, you slowly start getting to learn how to manually use it. It's amazing. The camera has an autofocus. It'll also auto adjust from the ISO, shutter speed, to the f-stop. Alright guys, so in this video what we decided to do is go out to a park and fly the drone out. And what I decided to do is to switch it over to active track mode. So you guys can kind of see one of the automated systems in this drone. As you guys can see, there's 2 circles. Robert is right behind me. He's filming me do this, but I decided to select myself, and what I decided to do is to circle it. So the drone is actually circling depending on where the movement is, and you can actually speed it up or slow it down or stop it completely. One of the cool things is as you continue to move, the drone follows you, whether it's forward, back, or around. I just decided to walk and the drone was actually following me. Now keep in mind, you guys, there is some discrepancy with this depending how high, how low, what's around it is going to happen. Fair warning on this, you guys, and I'm going to give you the biggest warning because I had to learn this the hard way. The drone actually shuts off all of the sensors when it's tracking you, so that I can create its movement. So if you're not careful with it, and you're in front of a tree or whatever it may be, you may crash this. And that's a big warning, you guys. I don't want you to become so comfortable with this because it does shut those sensors off. And as you guys can see, I brought it down just so you guys can get a closer look of what's going on. Once again, going to do the same thing and have the drone follow me. The drone at this point is actually only a couple feet in front of me. I want to say maybe 5-10 feet, and it's actually continuing to fly back and forth. And I decided to just move around so you guys can see what it can actually do. And this is pretty cool, you guys. If you guys are trying to do some like motivational videos where you're running, you want it to track you, that's awesome. Now, this is where it kind of sucks. The drone actually was getting ready to land because the battery was dying. Now that is a fair warning, you guys. You can change that. You can set it up to 18%, 19%, 20%, or 15%, whatever you want it to be. But the drone will start doing that kind of stuff, even if you're recording. So keep that in mind, you guys. So we landed the drone, we changed the battery, and that was it for this test run. So overall, I'm not going to give it a rating. Everybody's different, but it's really a plus for me. Highly recommend the drone. Once again, if you guys want to go with a cheaper end, there's a lot of drones out there available for you by DJI. It just makes it so much more amazing, you guys. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, drop it in the comments. I'll answer it as soon as I can, you guys. But once again, thank you guys for coming to the channel. I hope this has helped you in one way or another to choose whether you're going to choose the Mavic 2 Pro or if you're going to choose a different drone. You guys, thank you once again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And yes, I'm saying it for the second time. Hope you guys have a good one.